Good afternoon and welcome to the annual Capital OTB Breeders' Cup Seminar. I'm Seth Merrow, live in the studio, joined by our friend Tim Wilkins from the Albany Times-Union, and live from Delmar, Brian Nadeau. Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Seth. Good afternoon, Brian.
Timmy, always good to see you. Always good to be hear from you, and Seth as well. And I hesitate to say this, but I came from Fort Lauderdale. It's a little chilly out here in San Diego. It's like 55, 58 degrees.
You want to go home?
Yeah, it's beautiful, and just looking forward to tomorrow and certainly Saturday.
You probably brought flip-flops and shorts and nothing else.
Well, if you want me to stand up, I could show them to you.
See, I know you. I've already got one hand. I've already won one race then.
It's all about the attire down there in Florida. Let's just, before we get into the races, and with 14 of them, we'll jump right in. But before that, let's just get kind of an overview from each of you on the weekend. And my thoughts on the weekend is it's just shaping up the way you want a Breeders' Cup too. Because some years you get divisions that are a little jumbled by the time you get to the Breeders' Cup, and you're hoping the Breeders' Cup adds definition. I think this year we have had a number of horses who have continued to validate themselves throughout the year and have put together very consistent records. Horses like Latruska and Jackie's Warrior, Gamine. It's going to be fun to see what they do come Friday and Saturday. So I'm just looking forward to a great 2 days of racing with a lot of superstars on the two race cards. Tim, what are your thoughts on the weekend?
You know, when you said those aforementioned horses that you said they are really rock solid favorites, and as a handicapper, you always try to beat some of these horses. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. When we get into it, I was close to pulling the trigger on one or two of them, but I don't think I ever did, which makes me just a chalk-eating weasel, I guess. But, I did take some shots, and, it's the World Series of horse racing. And when you look at the Classic, really, with the exception of Maxfield, and, you really have everyone else there. And the 3-year-olds are really, in my mind, going to have a major say in that race, and I can't wait for that race. And I just think it's a great race and a great 2 days of racing. And yeah, I wish I was out there. I usually am, but I'm not this year.
Totally agree. It is scheduled to be a great 2 days of racing, highlighted by a fantastic Breeders' Cup Classic. Brian, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's, like Tim said it perfectly. It's a World Series. It's racing's championship weekend. We're going to crown a lot of champions, and very, very likely at about, I think it's 5:45 or what has it on Saturday, we'll crown a horse of the year too. If very likely the winner of the Classic will be horse of the year, or maybe Latruska wrestles it away if somebody stubs their toe in the Classic. But, there's a lot of excitement. And, as Tim was kind of alluding to it too, there are some definitely rock hard favorites. Rock solid favorites, but there's also favorites that don't have to win either, so I think that's what, it's great. Some of these 12, 14 horse fields, great betting races for the handicapper, for the bettors, or the pools, all these pick 4s and 5s they put in. So it's just a hell of a 2 days and a lot of excitement. Take a couple rubber bands off the bankroll, expand it a little bit, and fire.
Yeah, folks should be aware. You can check out the betting menu online, but there are a couple of 2 day. There are 3 2-day daily doubles, and there are a number of pick 5s over the 2 days. Obviously, a lot of pick 4s and rolling pick 3s. So it should be a lot of fun over the couple of days wagering wise. All right, let's get to it. Let's start with the Friday action. The 2-year-olds will be the focus. 6th race at Delmar on Friday afternoon kicks off the Breeders' Cup action. Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. As the name indicates, 2-year-olds going 5 furlongs on the grass. Brian, your thoughts on the Juvenile Turf Sprint?
I'm going to give my one-sheet selections because obviously we've been doing that for a while, and that's what's going to be out there online. So I'll just do that and keep with that format. 11-8 over 7-6-2 for me. I like Darien Ann for Clement. She's a filly here, and she looked really good. Winning last time. She's got a strong finisher in Joel Rosario. I know that it's very tricky going 5 furlongs here because it's such a quick race. But there is a lot of speed in here. She's well drawn to chase it down, and she's going to be a square price. So I put her on top. Certainly Averly Jane's the horse to beat. She's going to be a strong favorite, but this is a much, much tougher group than the Indian Summer. She's got speed to both sides of her. She is perfectly drawn. But she's really going to have to run hard every step of the way and earn it. And she's going to be a short number. I put her underneath. I don't like a lot of Europeans on Friday. They didn't send anything remotely close to their best. But I did put Armour in third. She's got Ryan Moore. The Middle Park and is one of the top 2-year-old races in Europe, and Perfect Power is probably the second best 2-year-old over in Europe. So to run close third to that one is a feather in his cap. These Europeans are going to get run off their feet going 5 furlongs. You just don't know how they're going to acclimate to that because they don't have anything like that in Europe. It's why, Wesley Ward goes over there and wins so many races now because the speed just kills them. So you don't know how these horses are going to acclimate to that. But I did put Armour in third. So it's 11, 8, 7 for me, top 3.
I went 8, 6, 7, 11. I did put Averly Jane on top. I just thought, she's been fantastic so far, passed her turf test last time. Wesley Ward has won this race the last 2 years. Won it last year with Golden Pal. Will be a little bit later in the Breeders' Cup schedule. I looked up stats, and we always think of Wesley Ward as 2-year-old turf sprinters. That's kind of his game. And let me just get the numbers right: 28%, 39 winners out of 141 runners. This is over the past 2 years, so 28%. Now, you parse that down to graded stake 2-year-olds on the turf. He's 2 for 10. But dig a little deeper into that. Like this race where he has 3 fillies entered, a number of those 10 horses in that smaller graded stake sample were in the same race. So essentially, those 10 horses ran in 4 races. So he's 2 for 4 as far as races won. Some of those, again, he was racing against himself. So I think the graded stake stat is pretty impressive as well. So Averly Jane on top, Twilight Gleaming, another Wesley Ward runner. This one, half of the starts over in Europe, including a nice win last time over in Deauville. And then, like Brian, I think Armour is an interesting runner on the European side of things. I put Dairy Name down in the 4th spot. I can't ignore that horse. I thought Twilight Jet was interesting at a price, maybe Vertiginous, also amongst the Europeans. But if I'm going to play around with a little bit of a price in this, and I will, Run Curtis Run will get into my mix somehow. And I would expect a big price for Mike Maker, but tried the turf last time in the Futurity and ran okay. The numbers seem a little bit light, but as I say, this horse being lightly racing with that race last time, I'm going to throw Run Curtis Run into the mix a little bit. But I have it in the Belmont Juvenile Turf Sprint, 8, 6, 7, and 11. Tim?
You guys have stolen my thunder on this one. Well, I went with Averly Jane. I mean, I remember seeing her in the Skidmore up at Saratoga in the race that was taken off the grass. And she just looked very, very professional. And in each one of her 4 races, all wins, the one on the turf, she's never really been asked by Tyler. And I don't think she necessarily has to have the lead. And I just think she's a very, very classy individual. And I think she'll continue the Wesley Ward express in this race. Second, I went with Dairy Name for Clement. Christophe Clement will win a Breeders' Cup race one of these years. I mean, he's
a good point.
I think he's 0 for 40, something like that.
Big number.
Yeah. And he's just too good of a trainer not to get to the winner's circle. And this filly should be coming late. I think could get a piece of it, maybe more. If all the speed signed up does work, it could come to her advantage. And 3, my third choice, I went with Go Bears Go from Europe, only because.
That works. Get a little bit of a price, you can just go because.
Yes.
7th race at Delmar on Friday, Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, Grade 1 event, $2 million up for grabs, mile and a 16th, and this is one of those aforementioned big favorites that a lot of people will put on singles on pick bets, and I put that one on top. I have it 6, 2, 5, and 3. I have Echo Zulu on top, but if I'm playing pick bets, I'm going to toss Hidden Connection in as well. Echo Zulu, 3 for 3 so far for Steve Asmussen, including the spin away and the Frisette, all with 90 or better buyer figures, which for a 2-year-old filly, pretty solid, and has an edge on this bunch. But Hidden Connection for Brett Calhoun has looked very good in the first 2 starts, including the Pocahontas. Yeah, the numbers are a touch lighter than the top pick, but being lightly raced, there's still some upside. Hidden Connection also is going to be a fun human story, ridden by Raylu Gutierrez. This is a kid that was born up in the Rochester area, started his career at Finger Lakes, and now is kind of on the up and come. So it'll just be fun to see what Raylu can do in here on Hidden Connection. Juju's Map in the 3rd spot. Sequest for me is in the 4th spot. If you remember, last year Vequist upset this race, another daughter of Nyquist, and I think Sequest for West Point and Dallas Stewart is maybe a little bit interesting at a price if you wanted to play around in this race and kind of blow things up. Because Dallas Stewart a few days ago, opening day at Churchill, he got off to a crazy start with three long shot 2-year-old winners. 2 of them paid over $30 on Sunday opening day at Churchill. So sometimes barns just get hot. So Sequest, maybe I'll play around a little bit with at what is expected to be a decent price. In the Breeders' Cup Juvenile filly, you have it 6, 2, 5, and 3. Tim?
You know, Seth, we have the same horses in different orders a little bit, but of course, I went with Echo Zulu too. My numbers are 6, 3, 2, and 5. Echo Zulu, you know, made such an impression at Saratoga when she broke her maiden there and then won the Spinaway. And Steve Asmussen had such a great summer. He's had a great year, and you know he's gushing over the fact that you know Gunrunner, who he trained, has started to produce some of these babies.
Phenomenal.
And this was the second one over the weekend because he also won the Hopeful with Gunite. And you know this horse has such a the ceiling is endless for what the ability that this one has shown. And she, after the Spinaway, which was as impressive as you're going to see, she was even better when she won the Frizette down at Belmont. So I think that she may have these over a barrel. I mean, I don't know if there's even anyone that'll go with her, and she could just win this race for fun. Sequest I have second with using the Dallas Stewart angle that he. You know, in big races, he's been, I mean, I remember a couple of Kentucky Derbies, and he finished second at monstrous prices. And, you know, I think that could happen here. Third, I have Hidden Connection. I mean, I don't know what to make a Hidden Connection for Brett Calhoun. I mean, she's won her first 2 starts by 16 combined lengths. I mean, granted, she didn't beat much, but she did what she had to do. So I'm a little intrigued with her. And fourth is Juju's Map, who, you know, might be overlooked a little bit here because looks like she could be coming into her own. And we remember what Brad Cox, her trainer, did last year at the Breeders' Cup. All he did was win 4 races. So I think you have to pay attention to everything that he saddles here. And you know, the fact that this is a daughter of Liam's Map doesn't hurt either.
Brian, your thoughts?
I like Hidden Connection in this spot. So I just swapped them 2, 6, 2, 6, 5 to me. You know, she's not far off of Echo Zulu on the buyers, and she's paired up 4s on the thoroughgraphs, and that's what Echo Zulu is doing as well. They're all running 4s, so they're very equal in ability. She's got a 2-turn win, and that's a big deal for me because all that good work that Echo Zulu's done was all at 1 turn. Obviously, she's bred for it, being by Gunrunner, but her running style to me just, I don't know. So it's just the waters could get a little deep and dicey in the final furlong. And, you know, Juju's Map's not going to let her get too far away. Taraby, you know, chased her in the Spinaway and didn't let her get too far away. And they're going to go slower on Friday because of that second turn, because of the longer distance. So I like Hidden Connection in this spot. She's going to be about 3 times the price, and that's just a great number on a horse that to me is very, very close in ability to Echo Zulu. So I put her on top, and then Juju's Map is, you know, if you like Juju's Map, there's another horse that's going to be a square price too. I mean, she was very, very good winning the Alcibiades at Keeneland. And that was a 2-turn race, obviously, as well. And, you know, Timmy mentioned perfectly, Brad Cox, 4 wins last year in the Breeders' Cup. So, you know, I mentioned it at the start, some of these favorites that don't have to win. To me, Echo Zulu is one of them. I mean, she's still an A to me. You got to use her in the top spots if you're playing these picks. This is a late pick 4 in this race. But I do like Hidden Connection in this spot, so it's 2, 6, 5 for me.
Moving on to race number 8 on Friday afternoon, Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf Grade 1 event, $1 million up for grabs. Tim, what do you think in the Juvenile Fillies Turf?
Okay, I have it 5, 9, 11, I believe. And, you know, I'm going to jump on the Brad Cox bus on this one. This 2-year-old filly has looked very good sprinting. She broke her maiden 2 back and then came back and won the grade 3 matron. I think with her being the daughter of More Than Ready, I think will be able to stretch out to a mile. I think she will be able to. So I'm going there on top. Second, I'm going with Koala Princess from Arnold Delacour. She's unbeaten in 2 starts. And the thing I like about this one is the human connection on the back. Joel Rosario, I believe, is the best grass race rider in the country. There's no jockey right now that I think has a better clock in his head than Joel. And I think when he won his last race at Churchill, and Kentucky Downs, she well-timed ride to make a move to win the Ainsworth. And I think that at 6-1, I'll take her second. And my third choice will be Chad Brown, one of the Chad Browns in here, Haughty, if I'm saying that correctly, who has shown some ability in both her career starts, broke her maiden in her second try, and then is now 2 for 2. And when she broke her maiden, she won at a mile and a 16th, so distance shouldn't be any problem there. So I will go with 5, 9, 11 in the juvenile fillies turf.
Brian, your thoughts?
Right with Timmy, this is my best bet of the day, Seth. Bubble Rock, to me, is the loose, lone controlling speed in here off those sprints I mentioned. And there's no speed in this race but her. And you look next door is Turner Loose, who showed speed. But it's also her stablemate. And you know darn well Brad Cox is not going to say, hey, listen, IRAD in Florent, let's do early. And I thought sprint races, Bubble Rock can get loose, control the pace here. Don't forget, we're going a very sharp and snappy 2-turn mile here. It's a quick race. You need to be in early. Some of these Europeans drew poorly. I don't think they're much either. And I think Bubble Rock is controlling in here. And like I said, that's my best bet of the day. Pizza Bianca down inside for Christophe Clement. I'm glad Tim mentioned it. It's not, but I'm glad he did mention it because it's an elephant in the room. It took Bobby Franco 40 tries or something like that. And then once he did, he won. But Christophe hasn't won a Breeders' Cup race. He's too good of a trainer not to. Pizza Bianca was really, really impressive. But now my Wild Beauty for Godolphin would be, 6-5 in here. Pizza Bianca was a good second to her. She can save all the ground. She's pretty tactical, so I like her. And then also with Tim, Koala Princess, Arnold Delacour, Rosario, to me, the best finishing jockey there is. And this gal's going to be very versatile. She wired on debut, and then she came from out of it at Kentucky Downs. So there's a lot to look at, but like I said, my best bet on Friday, Bubble Rock.
You guys both mentioned Joel Rosario. I'll just tell people to go to the Daily Racing Forum. There was an article just within the past few days about how Joel and his agent have been aiming. They're really pointing towards an eclipse and looking for money won. And so they blitzed Kentucky Downs, and they've been shipping all over the place. And it'd be interesting to see what he winds up doing on the weekend as far as juicing that total up. But I have it 7, 6, 1, and 5 in the juvenile fillies turf. I put consumer spending on top. Chad Brown, Klarovich, 3 starts, 3 nice improving efforts, including a stakes win in the Salima down at Laurel last time. I know folks, and I'm one of them, rely on the buyers quite a bit, and the buyers for this one maybe a little bit lighter than both Pizza Bianca and Bubble Rock, but being fairly lately raced and having won the way this horse did in the past couple, I think there might still be some upside on those numbers. So if I can get an 8-1, which the morning line is, on a Chad Klarovich runner, sign me up. Second slot, I'll go with Hello You, European Invader, that I think showed some ability last time in a Group 2, ran very nicely, and so I'll put that one in the mix. And then Pizza Bianca, logical. And again, the Buyer last time and then the Delmar, I thought that was a pretty good second place finish for this one. I know Bobby Flay was actually up there at Woodbine to watch this race in person. Bobby Flay, the owner breeder. So I think that says he had some confidence. And again, it was a good second place finish that day that I think in the second career start bodes well for the third start of the career in this spot on Friday. For me, in the 8th race at Delmar Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf, 7, 6, 1, and 5. 9th race on Friday is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Grade 1 event. They're putting $2 million up for grabs. 8.5 furlongs is the trip. Brian, your thoughts on the Juvenile?
This is the first race that I threw something at the wall, and I'm hoping it's going to stick. 3-1-10 for me. I thought Ovia Class ran really, really well in the American Pharoah at Santa Anita, in a spot that he had just zero chance in. Corniche, who's drawn outside here, a really, really disadvantageous post, is back, and he walked on the lead that day, and he was good, to his credit. And Ovia Class dropped out the back, and he's like, okay, well, this horse isn't doing anything. And then you watch him, and he's making up ground. He's running on late. This is a big stab. There's no doubt about it, and he's probably not going to win, but he's going to get a lot of things in his favor. First of all, he's going to be a giant price, okay? And he's going to get a lot of speed in this race. Jack Christopher, stretching out to 2 turns, is going from the rail. Corniche is in a terrible post. Mike Smith has never, met a pace he doesn't want to get involved in. He's going to be hot and flying up there because he has to be. Barossa, Baffert's got 3 of them in here. They all have a lot of speed. Barossa and Giant Game, Barossa and Pinehurst, they're all going to be going pretty good. So there's going to be a lot of hitting up here. And there's going to be some horses that are going to be tested for the first time, and how are they going to respond? Jack Christopher, again, I've got him in second. He's clearly the horse to beat. It looks like a freakish talent for Chad Brown, but the waters are. This is different on Friday. It's just 2 turns. He's down inside, probably going to take pace pressure the entire way. Maybe he's just this good. Maybe he's better than these. But he's going to be a really, really short price, so I'm going to play against him, put him in second. Command Performance, I thought, ran very well, chasing Jack Christopher home in the Champagne. He is still a maiden, but we saw Good Magic win this race right here at Delmar, actually, now that I think of it, in 2017 as a maiden. So Command Performance is coming for Fletcher, and he's a stalker in here that's going to get a lot of pace too, and he ran very, very fast in the Champagne. So, this is a race to me that could get a little funky in the lane with some of these horses that maybe get a little leg weary trying something they haven't done for the first time, Jack Christopher especially. So I'm going to try to blow it up with Ovia Class, 3-1-10 for me.
I have it 110, 12, and 2. Again, I'm a Buyer's guy. I couldn't get past a triple-digit Buyer for a 2-year-old in second start of the career. So I'll put Jack Christopher on top, although I don't disagree at all. The 2 turns does add a little bit of a piece to the puzzle that Jack Christopher will have to answer. But I have that one on top. I may have flip-flopped these and put Command Performance on top with a little bit of a better post position. Being out at the and I have Corniche in the 3rd spot, and I agree totally. That 12, I think, really compromises him. He has early speed, and Mike Smith will use it to find some position, but he's going to use that speed from the outside post. And again, from the 10, boy, if we were in maybe a couple, 3 spots more, Command Performance would have been a little more attractive to me. But I, too, thought that second in the Champagne was impressive. Jasper Great was a horse I put down in the 4th spot. Comes in from Japan by Arrogates, a Kentucky bred. Had a sibling called Power Broker that won the front runner at Santa Anita back in 2012. So there was a little bit of precociousness and at a top level in the breeding. I will say, I've interviewed Randy Moss for Racing Across America this weekend, Randy Moss from NBC, and we talked a little bit about Jasper Great. And he did far more of a deep dive on this horse, and you can see it actually on the show. But after listening to Randy, I have to admit, I'm maybe a little less enthusiastic about the Japanese horse, which I thought at the price I could play around with it a little bit. But again, Randy took the look, and maybe the field and whatnot was not quite the strongest down there in the debut win. So again, I've lost some of my enthusiasm for the Japanese Invader. But I have it 110, 12, and 2. Tim.
Well, I guess I'm out on an island on myself on this one because I'm going outside. I'm going to Corniche. $1.5 million purchase for Baffert. Baffert, Baffert horses you don't see Baffert horses typically at the back of the pack. His horses, he trains his horses for speed, speed, speed. And this horse has speed. And I believe Mike will break out of the gate. Yeah, the post stinks. You get no argument from there. But I think he's the best horse. I think he's going to break out of the 12, because the break is always important, always important. If he breaks well and he can get over and be like 3 or 4 wide going in the first turn, I think that he's going to be a horse that will do his serious running, and they're going to have to come and get him. I have, Chad's horse, Jack Christopher. What can you say about what he did in the Champagne? That number is like the highest number they've had for a 2-year-old in several years, and but there's some question marks. The one hole that's a question mark. The 2 turns, it's a question mark. He's got to show something. He might be that good, and I might be saying, well, if he does what he's done before, I'll just sit here and I'll applaud him, and I'll give him all the credit. But he's got to show it to me. I have him in the 3rd spot, and I picked Todd's horse, Command Performance, 2nd. I think he's got plenty of upside, and he is a maiden. Todd Pletcher doesn't send a horse across the country if he doesn't think he's got a shot, and he's got a shot in this race. And like Brian said, it happened before with Chad Brown and Good Magic, and I believe Chad Good Magic was also 0 for 2 when he won the Breeders' Cup Classic. So 12-10-1 for me.
And I know, Tim, you do a weekly podcast with Dale Romans. Did you have any thoughts this week on Giant King?
Dale, he's going to win every time. He's going to win it all.
Oh, I will say a few years ago I had him on the show. I had him on the morning show, and he had a couple of horses in a maiden race down at Gulfstream, and I went with the one that had no record so far, and I talked a little bit about that horse. And then I started to wrap up the conversation, and he said, wait a minute, you didn't talk about my other horse. And so I let him, and sure enough, $20 winner. So occasionally that confidence pays off for Dale.
I'll guarantee you one thing about Dale. He will not be staying Saturday because he doesn't have any horses, and he'll come home. He'll be on a plane coming home for Saturday, I think.
I don't blame him, I guess. Get home cooking. The 10th at Delmar on Friday wraps up the Breeders' Cup action. Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, a mile is the distance, 2-year-olds the age, $1 million is the purse. And in here, I went with Albert, if I'm going with the pronunciation from the last race up at Woodbine. But I like that one. And if you're looking for a guy on the human side who has been hot recently, you can't go any farther than Charlie Appleby. And that was part of the success he's had fairly recently, was that win up at Woodbine. And so the European form was good, validated it here in North America last time. I'll put that one on top and just keep my fingers crossed I can get that 6-1. I think that's very generous. Portfolio Company, 3 starts so far for Chad Brown and Klarovich, a win and a couple of second places, but the numbers are moving in the right direction, could be primed for a good effort. And then Modern Games, I will tip my cap to our colleague here at OTB, Mike Callahan. He's saying Modern Games is going to be his bet of the weekend, and he was looking at that Somerville last time, and he thought that race was very impressive, and he was listening to some interviews and whatnot. He's on Modern Games. I have that one in the mix also. And then the 8-horse from Aidan O'Brien. Couple of wins, bookending a second-place finish. Ryan Moore on board, though. I think at 12-1, that horse is also playable. So in the Juvenile Turf on Friday, I have it 2, 10, 1, and 8. Tim, your thoughts?
Well, I'm with you on this one, Seth. I went 2, 4, 10. El Bahar, if I'm saying it right. Charles Appleby's doing us no favors by naming his horses this way, or the owner, Godolphin. But, you look at the Europeans that are coming over, and I believe they had 56 pre-entered for this year's Breeders' Cup, and a lot of people are getting excited, but I don't think it's the strongest contingents of Euros. I mean, Aidan O'Brien is not loaded for this one. Charlie Appleby, who's had a great year, as you said, and this one prepped very nicely in the summer. I have him on top. Second, I'm going with Kenny McPeak, who also has never won a Breeders' Cup race. In his horse, Tiz the Bomb, who won the Bourbon at Keeneland, his last start after breaking through the gate, looked very impressive when he won that race. I think he can be a factor here, and portfolio company I have in the third spot for Chad. One horse I think that deserves a little bit of a sniff is Mike Maker's Stolen Base. He's 20-1 on the morning line. And if you remember last year, Mike won this race with Fire at Will. It was ungodly. It was crazy. I think he paid 60 some odd dollars. This horse has a couple seconds. He was second in the Bourbon to Tis the Bomb. And, you know, he'll get a few of my bucks if he goes off at a big price, which he should.
Brian, I'll toss it to you, and I will ask you also, Dubai Legend, I didn't use the horse. I probably would have, except for the 14 post, and I know for the Breeders' Cup you watch a lot of the European races and do the notes, so I'm just curious what your thoughts are. And maybe it's in, I'm looking at your picks, and it's not in your top three, but I'm wondering if, like me, Dubai Legend may have gotten into the mix with a better post position.
Yeah, the post is dreadful.
Yeah.
You can't make up how bad the post is. It's a real problem. So the Dewhurst is run at the over the Raleigh Mile at Newmarket. You know, it's the same course that they run the Guineas next May. So it's the race. And Native Trail is an undefeated, you know, the best 2-year-old in Europe by leaps and bounds for Godolphin. So to be second to him was a big effort. So, you know, he with a better post, he's the horse to beat in here. He's toss for me. He's got to be so good to win this race from the parking lot. 310-214 for me. I think Dakota Gold's going to get bet pretty hard in here. He's got a huge sheet number. He ran a 5 at Monmouth, winning his turf debut last time when all these other horses are running 7s and 8s and 9s and 10s. And you know, he looked really good doing it that day too. Now he was on Lasix that day. They let that happen in New Jersey. He's off of it here. So, but you know, obviously he ran at Saratoga on the dirt without it. He's drawn perfectly. You know, Luis Saez is as good as any rider in the country for my money. He's tactical and he's got a couple of fast races. So I like Dakota Gold, and I went outside a little bit. You guys mentioned portfolio company just seems to be getting better for Chad. And unfortunately, Annapolis had to come out of this race with an injury. He would have been favored in this race. So for, you know, to be beaten ahead by him, there's a feather in his cap. And again, the Godolphin, you know, down inside Al Baher. You know, the one thing I will toss out there, they run the Summer and the Natalma on the same day at Woodbine, and the Godolphin runner in the Natalma, which is the 2-year-old filly race at Woodbine. You know, they went faster than the boys did that day. So I'm not quite sure how good the Summer was, but you know, he did it impressively. If nothing else, he's drawn well. And you know, there's Charlie Appleby and Godolphin down inside with Modern Games, who's, you know, he's got to prove he's got some class to him. But I think he can get a piece of this as well from a good post. So it's a tough race, guys, and Friday. 310-214 for me. It's definitely a spread.
Yeah, fun day on Friday featuring the 2-year-olds, but we'll take a break. And when we come back, we'll get into the Saturday card, obviously highlighted by the Breeders' Cup Classic, but plenty of superstars throughout the day. Stay tuned. We will return right after this.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat-screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the capital region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
The Breeders' Cup World Championships have given us some of horse racing's biggest thrills and biggest payouts, like the $2.7 million Pick 6 payout back in 2003. With a long list of betting options, it's never taken so little to win so much. So don't miss your chance to share in thoroughbred racing's richest event, the Breeders' Cup. And be sure to go to capitalotbbet.com to wager and win.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Turfers did get it done last year at a little bit of an upset 10-1 price. And so I think maybe things are closing up a little bit, but it's still, I'm not quite as enamored with turf sprinters as turfers overall from Europe. But this one comes in off a nice win on the ARC undercard that I thought was at least enough to take a look at. And I know these days, as compared to when I first got into the game, weight is not as much of a factor in a lot of people's handicapping equations. But this horse does get 13 pounds off with a 124 impost, was racing with 137 last time. So I'll put that one in. Golden Pal in the third spot. And I agree with Brian. The numbers are a little bit light for this guy. I just couldn't ignore the fact 6 times in the exact and 7 career starts, and it is Wesley Ward with a turf sprinter. Arrest Me Red, the other Wesley Ward, up the big win in the Belmont Turf Sprint. Maybe it's just getting good right now, and a little bit of a price according to the morning line. I wouldn't ignore that one either. But for me, in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, I have it 4, 6, 3, and 5. Tim, your thoughts?
Well, Brian's not going to be able to talk me off of Wesley Ward. I picked Wesley first and second. I picked it 3, 5, and 8. I have Golden Pal on top. Golden Pal, Wesley Ward has said, has the potential to be the best horse that he's ever trained, which says a lot to me. And I think that when he was at Saratoga, that was his first start since winning the Breeders' Cup race last year. And then he went to York and he kind of blanked the bed a little bit and didn't show up at all. But he came back and won after that. And I think that he's sitting on a huge race. I think he's the speed of this race. I think they're going to have to come and get him. And I don't know if anybody has the ability to come and get him. And his second spot was his stablemate Arrest Me Red. For his race at Belmont really jumped off the page to me. And I think, like Seth said, he could be getting good. And another horse I'm a little interested in is Graham Motion's Caravel. He was last seen at the Turf Monster at Parks on Pennsylvania Derby Day. And I was down there for that. And the turf course at Parks that day was just beat up. It was like running in a field with holes in it.
Isn't that every day?
It wasn't just that day, Tim.
But it was just...
I had the same opinion, yeah.
And Caravel was the favorite in that race. And, he just did not... He hated it. And the horse that won that race, Hollywood Talent, went off at 10 years old, went off at like 100-1 or so. I paid $100 and so I think Caravel has more than a puncher's chance to show up in this spot and run well. And he's part of the ownership is Bobby Flay, the celebrity chef. And if he wins, he'll probably make omelets for everybody on the back stretch at Delmar on Sunday. So you should get up early, Brian, if that happens, and get yourself some eggs. So I have
Yelling at a TV somewhere about the Giants, Tim.
I have it 3, 5, and 8 in this race.
All right, race number 6 at Delmar on Saturday. The Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile Grade 1 event, $1 million up for grabs, as the name suggests. It's a mile. A field of 8 scheduled to go in here, and in the 6th race, I have it 1, 5, 3, and 2. This is another one of those horses that everybody thinks this horse could be a single. Life is Good. I'm going to look to beat Life is Good. Life is Good could be very good, may run away, may embarrass me putting it down the second spot, but did lose 2 races back to Jackie's Warrior in a really good effort, and won last time in the Kelso, but boy, that was not a strong edition of the Kelso. So I'm willing to go with Silver State, who I think is legit, good runner for Steve Asmussen, comes off a series of triple-digit buyers. This horse won the Met Mile a little bit earlier this year. So I'm going to take a little bit of a stand against Life is Good, although that one is very talented, right underneath for me. Ginobili, one of those horses, like another one we mentioned a little bit earlier, that has shown an affinity for the Delmar Strip, 3 for 4 at Delmar, including the last 2 starts back in July and August. So there's a little bit of a layoff here, but I think the horse is going to come in good form according to the workouts. And again, has shown a liking for the Delmar home cooking, as it were. So I think Ginobili is also interesting. In the Dirt Mile, I have it 1, 5, 3, and 2. Tim, your thoughts?
You know, at the start of the year, when everyone's getting excited, getting their Triple Crown Derby fever going, everybody was excited for Life is Good. I mean, he won his first 3 starts for at the time he was trained by Bob Baffert by like, you know, over combined like 20 lengths, and people were just sending him the Kentucky Derby trophy already, that he was that good. And then the issues came up. He got hurt. He was off the Derby trail, and then eventually he was out of Bob Baffert's barn because, I mean, depending on who you talk to, I mean, they wanted to send him east, or it was because of Bob's trials and tribulations that have been going on. But now he's in the barn of Todd Pletcher, and he waited for a long time before he brought him back, and he did what we thought was, you know, in the Alan Jerkins, he gave Jackie's Warrior everything he wanted and more, and he only got beat a neck, and he since has come back to, excuse my phone, sorry, he has since come back to win the Kelso at
Dale Romans, you'll call him back to.
to win the Kelso at Belmont, and he's just a very talented horse, and I think that he ability-wise, he has these horses over a barrel myself, I think. The second, I put Ginobili in the second spot because of what Seth had said. He is a horse that loves Delmar. He's got 200-plus buyers in his last 2 starts out there. And third, I put Silver State in there. He was a wow now horse earlier this year when he was whipping off, 6 straight wins. And then he ran into Nick's Go in the Whitney, and then he was in the Parks Dirt Mile in his last start, and I thought he was going to win the race. He looked like he was home free, and I don't know if he stopped running or if Ricardo Santana stopped riding him, but he got beat by Mind Control, and you know Santana, who was back on, is going to want to make amends for that. I mean, this might be the race he wants to win more than any other because of what happened at Parks. Because after that race, Steve Asmussen was none happy with.
You're right. That was a notably weird finish where you
Yes.
thought Silver State has this one in his back pocket.
Right. He looked like he was home free, but then it didn't happen. But I think that you know, he could make amends, not win, but I think he can run pretty well in this spot. So I have it 5, 3, and 1.
Brian, Dirt Mile?
It's actually set the Big Ass Fans Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, okay? You know, come on, don't shortchange them. That's a thing. It's a real thing. You know, we have all the same horses. I just put Ginobili on top. You guys mentioned he loves Delmar. I think that's, you know, that's a big deal. I think, you know, Life is Good does have a win here too, but Ginobili just seems like a better horse at Delmar. He's going to be outside and hopefully pressing or at least in attendance to Life is Good. I mean, you know, you just draw a line through the Kelso. It was a public workout, but the Jerkins, as Tim mentioned, was just a seismic effort. He runs anything close to that. You know, he's going to be very, very tough to beat, but Ginobili's been in very, very good form. Tim mentioned the triple-digit buyers. He did it without Lasix last time. You know, I think that so he shows that's not a big deal. And I think he gets the right kind of trip in here outside Ginobili. You know, Life is Good. Listen, a lot of people are going to single him. I don't have any problem with it. Kicks off a pick 4. We haven't mentioned that, but make sure you check whatever you know, form you use in the horizontals, because they're literally every race, a pick 4, pick 6, and all turf pick 4 coming up. So I want to go back because race 5, okay, the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint is an all turf pick 4, the 4 remaining Breeders' Cup Turf races. So I mean, these horizontals are awesome. Anywho, Silver State back in. I just worry Silver State going a really fast 2-turn mile is going to be left with too much to do, and that's why he's a comfortable third to me. So 3, 5, 1.
7th race on Saturday, the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf Grade 1 event, $2 million up for grabs. It's a mile and 3/8. Tim, your thoughts on the Filly and Mare Turf?
Well, I already said that Aidan O'Brien wasn't bringing maybe the A team, or maybe he doesn't have an A team this year. but I put him on top in this race with the horse Love. Now, I think when he comes to the Breeders' Cup, I mean, I think he started like 156 horses in the Breeders' Cup over his career, and he does have success in the Breeders' Cup. The Love this year is not right now the same horse that she was last year when she was 3 for 3. But she did show some life in her last start in Ireland when she got beat a nose, and she's always been a consistent animal on the green. I mean, she's got 7 wins and 14 starts on the board 5 other times. Main man Ryan Moore's in the saddle. The Euros aren't going to get shut out, trust me, at the Breeders' Cup. And I think Love is a horse that could maybe get them going. I have that horse first. Number 6, number 7, Warlike Goddess, who has been, without question, the most impressive turf filly that we've seen in the U.S. this year for Billy Mott. She won the Glens Falls and the Flower Bowl up at Saratoga, and she just looked very, very impressive. So I have her in the 2nd spot, and Chad Brown, who has, 13 horses, I think, in the Breeders' Cup. He's got, 15 wins in his career there for the Breeders' Cup. I don't think he's going to get shut out either, but I don't know if he wins with this one, pocket square in the 3rd spot.
Brian, your thoughts in the filly and mare turf?
Yeah, Love is my best bet on Saturday. She just, to me, lays over this field for a couple different reasons. I mean, she's dropping 13 pounds, so I know she didn't win the Blanchford. The Blanchford came up really tough, by the way. It's more like a Group 1. She was given 9 pounds to the winner. She was given 9 pounds to the 3rd place finisher. So I thought it was a really, really good effort, and I promise you, none of these ones in here are running 3rd to Misriff and Adayar like she was able to do. She won the Prince of Wales at Royal Ascot over males to kick off her campaign. Tim's right. I mean, last year she was off the charts good. She's not that good this year, but she may be rounding back into form. Dropping 13 pounds is huge, and I think she's in a great spot in here. The unknown a little bit is Love's Only You, the Japanese horse. That did win there's so many Queen Elizabeth IIs out there, and she won at Chatin. I don't know a lot about her. I know a lot about these Europeans. I admittedly don't know a lot about her. The time form figures 23 and 24, if you do the math, you take away the 14 points, which is a rough rule of thumb that people say, she's got a couple big figures here. I don't know how good she is, but I think she's a player for a piece of this. Tim mentioned Warlike Goddess is like a month and a half ahead of any U.S. turf horse we have. How does that stack up on the big stage on Saturday? She's got to run faster, but boy, it's not like they've gotten to the bottom of this filly. An English Channel won the Breeders' Cup turf, so this trip is not going to be a problem. She's shown she could run farther. She's really good. I just don't think she's European really good, and I think that's a problem for her. Adaria was better last year, and I think she probably wants a little more give in the ground. I don't think she won this race last year with Lasix. She's not doing that this year. I mentioned that earlier. The post is just terrible. Between her and Tarnawa, it's like that they got I don't know, you won last year, we're giving you the parking lot this year. Rougier is a horse that probably wants really heavy ground, like she got at Paris Longchamp on Park Day to win the Longines, the Prix de l'Opera, and she's obviously not going to get that at Delmar. So I think that's problematic for her as well. And I don't think she's in Love's class level either. So 6, 8, 7 for me, my best bet of the day is Love.
I put Rozier on top, but I agree completely. The ground is probably the big question mark here, as it is for a lot of Europeans. They race under the boggier conditions, and certainly that day, the Arc Day at Longchamp, it was playing very boggy. But comes out of that race a winner that was the same race that Adaria came out of last year. I'll put Rozier on top and look for a little bit of a price for one of the Euros. Warlike Goddess underneath. Yeah, how can you fault this one? 6 for 7 so far. Adaria in the 3rd spot. Yeah, I don't think she's as good this year as she was coming into the race last year, and also being hung out at the 12 post was definitely a negative for me. But I had to put her in, being the defending champion, and I think she's good enough. Just, is she good enough from that post position. As I say, not as good this year as last year. I still think she's good enough. I think the post is going to work against her. And then I had Love down in the 4th spot, and I may regret putting that one down where I did, because I agree with all the comments that the guys made prior as well. This one comes in with only 1 win in 4 starts this year. But yeah, you look finishing just behind Mishrif and just behind Adaria on one of the starts and ahead of Adaria in another one. Certainly Love is very, very capable in here. In the 7th at Delmar on Saturday, Breeders' Cup, Filly and Mare Turf. I have 4, 7, 12, and 6. That'll bring us to our next break. We will come back after this, continue the OTB, the capital OTB, Breeders' Cup Seminar. Tim Wilkins, Seth Merrow, Brian Nadeau. Stay with us. We'll give you some more thoughts right after this.
Welcome to Albany County, an incredible destination to live, work, and play, with easy connections to more than a dozen cities from our vibrant modern airport. It's a short trip downtown to a hive of culture and amusement, from world-class shows at the newly renovated Times Union Center to reliving the past at the New York State Museum. From outdoor recreation to shopping to nightlife, Albany County has something for everyone. We'll see you soon.
Come on!
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. It's in front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Bob. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish in the turn. Here's the wire.
OTB Breeders' Cup Seminar 2021. Seth Merrow, Tim Wilkins, Brian Nadeau, live from Delmar. We will jump back in. The last 5 races of the Breeders' Cup 2021 card starts with race number 8, Breeders' Cup Sprint, Grade 1 event, $2 million up for grabs. And again, this is another one of those horses that a lot of people will be leaning on strongly, Jackie's Warrior. But Brian, your thoughts in the sprint?
It's a post position race, much like the Philly Mare Sprint was. I think this one is too. 9-2-5. The fact that Dr. Scheibel's outside and Jackie's Warriors inside, I think is a big deal. And Jackie's Warriors deservedly, I have them at even on my fair odds line. And he's clearly the horse to beat. He's just, especially in his last 2 races, he's been awesome. As Tim mentioned earlier, he beat Life Was Good in the Jerkins, and then he wins the Gallant Bob at Parks in the Canter. But you know what? The speed to his inside and following C, and then obviously Dr. Scheibel to his outside, and even Special Reserve is got speed too. So I know Jackie's Ward is faster than all of them. I'm not saying they're going to be head and head with him, but he's going to have to really run hard. He's never run against older horses. He's down inside, and he's a really short price. And Dr. Scheibel's 3 for 3 at Delmar. And you go back and watch the Sprint Championship at Santa Anita last time, and he was really impressive. I mean, he had to do all his own dirty work down inside while getting pressed, and he just hit the far turn, and he just, kind of laughed at some good horses. And he's got to step up again. He's got to run faster than he ever has, but that was off a little bit of a break. He's only run 7 times. He loves winning races, and like I said, he's just going to be a lot better price than Jackie's Warrior. I just think it's a 2-turn race, a 2-horse race, to me, and I've got him in second. Then Aloha West, I don't think he can win this race, but what he can do is sit back and let it all unfold like he did at Keeneland, and he almost ran down Special Reserve. He's got to run the race of his life, but I do think he's a very logical exacta or try kicker in here, because he's just, like I said, he's going to sit back and let it all unfold, and he's going to be running hard at the end, and he's got a lot of upside to him for the Catman, Wayne Catalano, and he can get a piece of this too. So 9-2-5 for me in the sprint.
295, 298 and 5 for me. Jackie's Warrior on top. Yeah, the question mark, I suppose, is trying older, but boy, just looked phenomenal and improving actually number-wise over the past 3 starts. That Gallant Bob was essentially, a paid workout. And Steve Asmussen sends the horse down to Parks for the Breeders' Cup prep, but just comes in the right fashion. I have that one on top, but I do think, and I've heard it pronounced both ways, Dr. Scheibel, Dr. Shivel. I have no idea.
Hey, Seth, let me ask you a question,
Yeah.
Seth, because I don't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to ask you this because you're a buyer guy. Jackie's Warrior, you rarely see this. This is like 1, 2, 3, 6 races in a row. He's just going up, and up. 110 last time. Does it worry you? Do you think regression's coming? It just seems to me like to me, I don't know if he can just keep going up again.
It is concerning because horses can't keep going forward, but normally they don't keep going forward for 6. Normally you'll get 2 or 3 and you get that step back. So this horse is clearly special, but more importantly, I think the horse can maybe lose 5 or 6 points and still have the edge. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. But yeah, you're exactly right. If folks look at these kind of situations, you do have to consider that because horses just can't string them together that way and keep them going forward continually. It's certainly something to consider. But Jackie's Warrior on top, Dr. Shivel or Scheibel in the second spot. Yeah, and I agree that Santa Anita Sprint Championship, very, very good and makes this one very dangerous. Bullet workout coming into this. Third spot, I went with Special Reserve, who I think, wouldn't be necessarily a shock if he got it done in here and upset this, because I think you're looking at a string of 4 triple-digit buyers from him, and Aloha West comes off a couple of triple-digit buyer performances. There are a couple others in here that I think CZ Rocket, the 7-year-old on a best effort, could be competitive in here. Forensic Fire, if he doesn't try to make lunch out of one of the competitors, could be up in the mix as well. But for me, in the sprint, I have a 2, 9, 8, and 5. Tim?
Well, I got it 2, 9, and 6. I just think I was down at Parks. I saw Jackie's Warrior. So I've seen Jackie's Warrior the last 4, 5 times he's ran in person. And, granted, he didn't beat anything in the Gallant Bob. I think that the people at Parks were shocked when Asmussen decided to run the horse there, because there was 0 in there that could even contend with him. And again, it was a public workout for him. But I think if Jackie's Warrior is even at 70%, I think he handles this field. I just think that he's head and shoulders above the rest of these. I would think Todd Pletcher's Following C will try to run with Jackie's Warrior early. I think Jackie's Warrior shrugs him off, and I remember talking to Joel Rosario after the Gallant Bob, and I asked him what the secret to Jackie's Warrior is, and he says, it's pretty simple, really. He says he runs fast and then he runs faster, and that's what he does. I have Dr. Shivel second. His record at Delmar, you can't argue with that. He's won 5 in a row. I don't know if he's in the same class as Jackie's Warrior, but the home court advantage could come in for a second place finish there. And I have Hannibal Lecter third. Forensic Fire third. Let's see if he behaves himself. Because he's an honest racehorse. He shows up most of the time. He's 14 wins in 37 starts, and I'm just putting him in for third so he doesn't bite me the next time he sees me.
And that still might not be enough. All right, let's turn the page to race number 9, the Breeders' Cup Mile Grade 1 event. The purse is $2 million. It's a mile on the grass, and at the top of my page I have written, is this the toughest race? It may wind up being. But I went 4, 3, 6, and 11. I put Raging Bull on top, and I'm just hoping we get back to that seasonal debut. That win at Keeneland in the spring, I was in doing the handicapping show that day, and it was just really an eye-popping, phenomenal win, very good number. Subsequent starts haven't lived up to that, but did seem to show a little life last time, maybe up in the Woodbine Mile. So again, I'm hoping we can rebound to that race at Keeneland, and if so, Raging Bull at, if the morning line holds up, a very good price for a Chad Brown, Irod Ortiz runner. Raging Bull on top. Second spot is Space Blues. Charlie Appleby coming in off a very nice European campaign this year for a Godolphin. The question mark for me with this one is going to be the trip, because this is more of a, I guess you would say, sprinter, given that you look down the page and a lot of the races, 7 furlongs, 6.5, and we're going 2 turns at a mile on Saturday. So I was a little bit concerned if this horse had a little bit more experience at this kind of a trip. I may have been more enamored and moved the horse up to the top spot. But I'll put Raging Bull over Space Blues. In the third spot, I'm going to take a look at Mo Forza, who is kind of the hometown hero, as it were. 5 exacta finishes and 6 starts at Delmar. Won the Delmar Mile 2 back, won the City of Hope Mile at Santa Anita last time. So again, this is a Southern California-based horse with plenty of turf talent at this morning distance. So for me, in the Breeders' Cup Mile, 4, 3, 6, and 11. Tim?
Well, historically, this race, it's like a pinball machine, the tote board. I mean, there are huge prices that come in this race. I think the average win price over the last 10 years, I want to say, is like $42, something like that. So, of course, I'm going to try to keep the trend going. I'm going 2, 3, and 10. My top pick is Smooth Like Straight. He's Michael McCarthy trained. He's been in the exacta at Delmar all 5 times on the grass. He only had 1 win this year, but he's been second 3 times. One of the losses was a head in the Delmar Mile. The Eddie Reed, he was second by a neck. I mean, he's run against Mo Forza, who I don't have in my top selections, but Smooth Like Straight has 100 buyer numbers in his last 5 races. I'm at 10-1. Sign me up. I'll take him. Space Blues with Charlie Appleby. Again, this is a consistent horse from over in Europe, and 10 wins and 18 starts on the grass. I have him second, and the third horse I have is the 10 Blowout from Chad Brown, who could this filly, the mare, the 5-year-old mare, could have a lot to say about the pace in this race, because I think she's the only horse in here that will be running early. And, she can go a while, and if she goes a while, she could have she could be part of the exacta and try here. So I'm gonna go with her third.
Brian, I see you're going with the Euro on top in here for Charlie Appleby. So your thoughts on the Breeders' Cup Mile?
Well, Tim, yeah, I did pick him, but he's right with Blowout. She looks like the loose and controlling speed in here, and which therefore puts his Smooth Like Straight in a good spot just off of her. There's not a lot of speed in this race, and Blowout can get brave, and so I will have both of those in my mix. My order is 3-6 over the 8-9. But in spread, I did pick Space Blues. I don't love him. I just don't think our American miles are very good. I mean, Smooth Like Straight, he's in my mix. I picked Mo Forza second. I like him, but it's not like these are, running huge figures, fast races. I think Space Blues, especially from this post, he's down inside. Charlie Appleby's been on record as saying this is my biggest chance in this Breeders' Cup, and he'll like this fast, hard, firm turf at Delmar, and I just think he's better than these. The Euros didn't send their best milers. Palace Pier and Bite are not here. They would be 1-5 in this race, but I still think Space Blues is pretty good. He loves winning races. As a big two. He's 10 for 18, so. I put him on top. I like Mo Forza. I think he's a good horse, and he's got a race in him that would be, if he runs back that City of Hope last year, and he's only run 3 times this year. He's another that likes winning races. He likes the Delmar Curlers. So, I think he's in a good spot to run well. But with that being said, he really did get all the best of it in City of Hope. I mean, you look at the running line smooth like straight, and he dueled the entire way around. And then you look over to Hit the Road, who I've got third, and he just had a boatload of trouble that day. So yeah, Mo Forza won, but you could really make an argument he was third best that day. But he's going to trip out here too, and that's to his credit, because he's got tactical speed to be able to sit the trip. Whereas Hit the Road is going to come from a little farther back, and he's going to have to work out a trip. So those are my top three. Mother Earth can get a piece. She's no great shakes. She's nothing special, and she's far down the list of the European milers. But she really woke up, and I thought she ran the best race of maybe her life last time, to be completely honest with you. I mean, it was like no one notices she was fifth in the QE2 on Champions Day at Ascot. But, again, there's Baid, who's never lost, and there's Palace Pier, who's only lost twice, and they both came in the QE2 on Champions Day. And so, again, those horses would be, they would win this race running backwards. And she was beaten less than 4 lengths that day. She is a Group 1 winner. The Prix Rothschild wasn't a great race. She has never really beaten a good horse. But she could get a piece of this in here, and she should be a square price too. So it's a deep spread for me. This kicks off the late pick 4, and I want to use as many as I can to ensure that I'm alive. As Tim had mentioned, Order of Australia won this race at 73-1 last year, so it can be that kind of race.
Breeders' Cup Distaff is race number 10, and don't forget, being out on the West Coast, you got to carve yourself out a portion at the end of the day, because this race goes off at 7 o'clock our time on the East Coast, 4 o'clock on the West Coast. But the Breeders' Cup Distaff, Grade 1, couple $1 million up for grabs, 1 1/8 the distance. And regardless of what happens in here, I think Latruska has already put together an Eclipse-winning campaign. So going to be interesting to see if she can put the exclamation point on it, but it's just hard for me to get past her. I suppose if you're making an argument in that division, the filly and mare division, She Dares the Devil, maybe with a win here, could wrestle it away, maybe. A couple of interesting 3-year-olds in here, and Clariere and Malathot as well. Tim, what are your thoughts on the distaff?
Well, it's without question it's Latruska's race. The race goes through Latruska, no matter how you carve it up. And I'm getting kind of a kick out of listening to people all that are kind of bashing this horse a little bit, saying that she's been racing too much. She's not as dominating as she was because she's going to get tired. She got all this other stuff. No, this horse is a freak. This horse just loves to run. I talked to Fausto Gutierrez, the trainer, after the Ogden Phipps, after she won that race, and he just talked about how she's not tired. She said the same thing up at Saratoga after she won the Personal Ensign. I mean, this horse was being considered to run against the boys in the Classic early on this year. I mean, bravo to Fausto for keeping her with her own. Why wouldn't you run in the distaff where you're going to be, 8-5 or less, rather than go in the Classic when you might be 5-1? I think that she's without question the horse that you have to think that she's a single here because she's faster than the rest of these horses. I mean, I would think Bob Baffert's Private Mission will take a chance. We'll go and try to run with her because that's what Bob's horses do. But she's not as good as Latruska. I think that Latruska is the horse that dictates this race, wins this race, and I have Malathot, the Alabama winner, second. I mean, earlier this year, she was being talked about, like, hey, after she won the Kentucky Oaks, let's run her in the Belmont Stakes. They thought that highly of her. I mean, she stubbed her toe a little bit in the Coaching Club Oaks, finishing second, beaten ahead. But in that race, I mean, she took the shot of the other three horses in there. She took their best shot and still almost won the race. I think if anyone's going to beat Latruska, it's going to be the 3-year-old. And Royal Flag, who was impressive at Saratoga when she won the Chuvy, but was third to Latruska in the Personal Ensign, can come along and get third. So I have it 6-3-2.
Brian, your thoughts on the distaff?
162. This is the only Baffert horse I'm going to play this weekend. I'm just going to. Private Mission is, to me, the controlling speed in here. And you know she's going. She has to go. She's faster than anybody else in here. Now it puts Latruska in the perfect spot. Don't get me wrong. It's not like she's going to be 4 lengths clear in here. Latruska doesn't let anybody go early. But you look at her races with the exception, or 2-turn races, with the exception of the Personal Engine. She's not supremely fast early. So Private Mission will be in front. I'm very, very confident of that. Maybe not good enough, but listen, one thing we haven't mentioned is, these tracks have been known to be pretty souped up on Breeders' Cup Day, Breeders' Cup weekend. And maybe Private Mission breaks, it gets brave. The 9 furlongs is a question mark. She's a 3-year-old filly. This is a big ask, but I do think she's got a flow edge here. So I put her on top. Tim mentioned everything about Latruska. I just think it's awesome. And I'm glad you mentioned the campaign too, Tim, because I don't know, I've got to go back to Mineshaft maybe. The last time a horse had a campaign like this, you don't see it. Kudos to Fausto Gutierrez and his group for she just keeps on keeping on. And she's got 5 straight triple-digit buyers. Nobody runs fast anymore these days, and she does it every 3 weeks. Maybe it catches up to her on Saturday. I don't know, but I'll tell you what, she wins this race, and Tripoli wins the Breeders' Cup Classic, she might damn well be Horse of the Year. I mean, that's the type of campaign she's had, and I think it's great. Royal Flag is going to need a meltdown. I don't think she's going to get it, but she showed in the Personal Ensign she can run with Latruska a little bit, and I think she's a threat late in here. I'm really against Malathat. I'm fading her. She doesn't look any. I think she's dressed up over beating up on bad 3-year-old fillies. I mean, to her credit, she's done it, but I'm against her. She's got to run the race of her life to me to get a piece of this. And one horse I will throw out at a big number that might be getting good again is as time goes by. She was like a wake-up second to Private Mission in the Zenyatta. And if you go back in her form, she's got some good races. I don't know. If you're fooling around with someone at a big number underneath, it could be her. But I like Private Mission to wire to forget to stop in there. 162 for me in the distance.
I'm 6'3", and it's funny you mentioned that because I think you're right, Brian. If there's some kind of a wacky upset in the Classic, Latruska is right there for Horse of the Year consideration. That would be an interesting turn of events, certainly. I put Malathat underneath. I'm just a little bit concerned. I think this is a talented 3-year-old filly, obviously. Lightly raced, so probably some upside potential. But boy, I know it's the 21st century. I know we're going in that direction, but hasn't been seen since the Alabama. So I'm a little bit concerned on the layoff angle here. But it is Todd Pletcher, talented runner. As I say, maybe still some upside. She Dares the Devil, again, the only other likely runner in the conversation for that Fillion Mayer clip, that older Fillion Mayer eclipse, with the 4 wins and 5 starts so far this year. So again, she is a player. Royal Flag down in the bottom, at the bottom for me. I will say Clairiere, I have heard, has been getting some good buzz in the morning, so I'll toss that out there coming up of the performance, a nice winning performance in the Cotillion. I've liked that one all year long. I couldn't quite pull the trigger there, but as I say, there's maybe a little buzz on that one. In the 10th at Delmar on Saturday, the Breeders' Cup Distaff, 6, 3, 8, and 2. Moving on to race number 11, Breeders' Cup Turf, Grade 1 event, $4 million up for grabs. 1.5 miles is the distance. Brian, your thoughts on the Turf?
Well, we got a little bookkeeping, right? Because United and domestic spending are now out. So that draws in Bolshoi Ballet and Channel Maker. Bolshoi Ballet is 15 to 1 on the morning line. He should be 400 to 1. So the morning line's been very good in these Breeders' Cup races. That's a big miss. He has no chance. I did not have domestic. I had domestic spending in second. I have Rock Emperor on top. I don't know. Chad took the blinkers off in the Turf Classic to Joe Hirsch, and this horse finally won a race. I mean, it's like breaking news. Rock Emperor won a race over a graded stakes race. And he did it, ran fast. And he's drawn inside. He's got a grade 1 win at 1.5 miles. This is not a good race, guys. Let's be honest. The defending champion, Tarnow, is in here. The post here is absolutely so bad for her. So bad for Tarnow. She gets helped by the 2 scratches because she gets to move in 2 spots, but it's so bad. And she's clearly the horse to beat. I have her moved up at second, 113.12 now for me. And I like Rock Emperor. He's not going to be as big a price as he was with the scratch of domestic spending. Everybody's going to come down now. Tarnawa might well be like even money in here. She's that good, and the rest of this field is kind of not. But I'll just take the price on a horse who drew much better than the heavy favorite too. The Arc was run in an absolute bog. Heavy doesn't even describe the conditions that day. The winner was 80-1, but Tarnawa beat everybody else, and she did it well. The second to St. Mark's Basilica, the best turf horse in the world. 2 back in the Irish Champion was, seismic stuff, and then she won a laugher in her debut. So very lightly raced this year. Doesn't have Lasix, like I mentioned, as last year, but I don't know. I don't think it matters as much with her, whereas I do think it did with Ardalia and Glass Slippers. If she can work out a trip, she'll win this race, period. She's just that much better than these. Tiona is interesting. She beat Snowfall on the square last time, and she had some trouble too. If you go back and watch that race in the Prix-Vermeille, she got bounced around pretty good trying to get out late. Took a real hard hip check and still came on running. Now Snowfall is going this way. We all know that. She's just not the horse that won the Oaks by 16 or whatever it was, and she's going the wrong way. But Tiona looked good that day. She's proven over the trip, and she likes firm turf, and she's going to get all of that here. And she's a lightly raced 3-year-old filly, getting weight from these horses too. She's getting 7 pounds from the boys in here. Don't sleep on her at a number in here. She's got some class to her. So it's 113.12 for me in the $4 million turf.
Amazingly, same exact, 113, 6 and 7. I also took a little pop with Rock Emperor because like you, I was kind of impressed with that Turf Classic, and I thought that race just maybe sets Rock Emperor up for another good race this afternoon. So I went in that direction, and I had this one on top originally. I didn't scratch into it. I had domestic spending in my mix, but I now wind up with Rock Emperor on top, and again, had that one on top before, had Tarnawa in the second spot before, I had domestic spending down in the third slot, so that's where things change up for me. But I'm right with the exact I originally had. Tarnawa, I'm with you. The post position is going to be a negative, but it is 1.5 miles, so there should be some time to sort the trip out. And this one, decent second last time in the Arc, should be set up to run well this afternoon. Third slot, I will go with, this one's kind of interesting, Acclimate. And again, it was originally in the 4th slot, so this is now a little bit of a move up. And the 4th slot is typically one of those where I will roll the dice a little bit. But now we move up in this 3rd slot. But I'll stick there. And I bring it up because if you read Mike Welch's Twitter feed, he earlier this week said, if you haven't looked at Acclimate in the turf, maybe give that one a second look. And Mike Welch, of course, the workout guy for the Daily Racing Forum, he's been out there, he's been watching the workouts. He liked what he saw from Acclimate, so I thought, well, I'll toss that one into 20-1. And then Walton Street pulls into my mix as well for Charlie Appleby coming off the win last time up at Woodbine. In the Breeders' Cup turf for me, 113, 6 and 7. Tim?
Well, I think this race is going to be a wake-up call for Japan. The Aidan O'Brien horse, the 14 post, obviously not great, but again, it's 1.5 miles, and I think that he's going to be able to get a trip. I mean, this horse is a traveling fool. I mean, he came over to Saratoga to run second in the Sword Dancer, then got back on a plane, went back to Ireland, came back from Ireland to Belmont to run in the Turf Classic, and it took money. He was 2-1. He didn't lift up his legs at all. Then he went back to Ireland again. Now he's back here for this. I think that, again, Aidan O'Brien does not, he's the Todd Pletcher of Europe. I mean, he does not send horses just so he can have a horse in the race so he can get a spot in the Turf Terrace Club, or if they have such a place up there at Delmar. He's been a fairly consistent runner on the grass, and if he runs back to what he did in the Sword Dance, he only got beat a neck. I think he's going to be a horse that could really light up the board. I mean, and again, first of all, I had him second originally, and then I had Domestic Spending on top, and I have I'm going to screw it up. Tarnawa, the defending champion.
Nailed it.
Thank you. I have her second, and Gufu. I think that again, the Christophe Clement angle. He's going to get one of these. Maybe it'll be this one. This is a hard trying horse.
Yeah, and it's a fun edition of the Breeders' Cup Turf. Speaking of fun editions, a fun edition of the Breeders' Cup Classic, Grade 1 event, $6 million up for grabs, and they will travel 1.25 miles for me. 4, 5, 3, and 6. I'm going to put Essential Quality on top. I mean, he's done little wrong. 8 wins and 9 career starts. The only off-the-board finish, the only blemish was the Kentucky Derby, and he ran a very good race that day, wound up a close-up 4th. I think, for me, I'm either going there or I'm looking for Knicks Go to run them off their feet. And I think that may be the case. And in almost any other year, I would probably wind up on Knicks Go very, very easily. But there's just a lot of speed in this race. And so I'm wondering, does he get out there at the 1.25 miles, and can he run them off their feet? I think it's possible. Pick bets, I'd certainly use both of these. But again, with all the speed, I'll look for Knicks Go to be out there, get challenged, and for that kind of grinding, just get it done, do enough kind of style for Essential Quality. We'll hope that early speed plays into his form and his style, and he gets up there, gets it done over Knicks Go. Hot Rod Charlie in the 3rd spot. I think off the Pennsylvania Derby, a lot of people are going to land here, and I can't argue. Just seems to come in good form, but particularly with that Pennsylvania Derby win last time. I think it's a fun edition of the race. I think pace-wise, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out into the first turn and going down the backstretch. But for me in the the Breeders' Cup Classic, I have it 4, 5, 3, and 6. Tim, what are your thoughts on the highlight?
You know, this is it's a really, really, really fun race for people to watch, and it's really I think it's a really good betting race too. I've landed on the same Essential Quality. I have it 4, 3, and 8. I'm all in on the 3-year-olds in this one, and nothing against Knicks Go, but I've never been a fan. I've never been a fan of Knicks Go. I don't know. I mean, the older division, face it, not much this year, right? And I think that Knicks Go. There's no question. He's a fast horse. Is he fast enough to go 1.25 miles after getting? And he's never gone 1.25 miles. Is he fast enough to repel the likes of Medina Spirit? Hot Rod Charlie will be close. Art Collector will be close. And I think it'll set up the race perfectly for Essential Quality, who really has done nothing wrong this year. I mean, if you're trying to, punch a hole in his armor, you might say, well, he hasn't run since the Travers. But this was by design. They said this was what they were going to do with him all along. This is the path they chose for this horse. And he is a horse that'll fight he'll fight you tooth and nail the whole stretch until he gets the job done. He did that in the Travers. I mean, I never thought he was going to lose the Travers when he went into the stretch. He's that quality of an animal. I really like him to win. I have Hot Rod Charlie second. I mean, they're putting the blinkers on him after he's had some, I don't know, episodes, would you call it? When in the Haskell, when Midnight Bourbon almost went to his knees, and then he swerved out in the top of the stretch, and there was an inquiry there with Midnight Bourbon. I never thought it was going to come to a DQ because I thought he was clear, but they're putting the blinkers on to give him more focus. And Medina Spirit, if he were to win this race, it would probably be the most unpopular Breeders' Cup Classic win ever because of Bob Baffert. and that's unfortunate. I mean, don't blame the horse. This horse, all he does is run and run as hard as he can for as long as he can, and usually it's been enough. I mean, he's already beaten older horses in the Awesome again, and I think he's coming into this race as well as can be expected. Johnny V has already said when the gates open, he's going to the lead. If anybody wants to try to come with him, he'll see what happens. It's almost like he thinks he's faster than Knicks Go, which I don't know if I buy that. But I think that Medina Spirit might soften up Knicks Go enough where he might say, the heck with this, I'm done, and as they head into the stretch. And Medina Spirit will keep going, because I don't think Knicks Go has had the fight that some of these other horses have had. So I go 4-3-8.
Very good. Brian?
Well, he's nowhere near as fast as Knicks Go, but he's fast enough to be a problem for Knicks Go, and that's kind of how I'm playing this race. 3-4-1-5 for me, and I think you guys both hit on it. There is a lot of speed in here. Now, Knicks Go will be in front, but Mike Smith and Art Collector are right outside, and no one's allowed to criticize Mike Smith, but he just loves being involved in hot paces, and he's going to press Knicks Go. And Medina Spirit certainly is going to be going in some way, shape, or form. So there's no doubt in my mind Knicks Go will be in front in here, but he's going to have to run hard. Now, Knicks Go is one of the, I love a horse like Knicks Go. He reminds me of Skip Away. Just they have that high cruising speed, and they just basically drop you into the ground. Can he get a mile and a quarter? I'm betting against it, but watch the gallop out of the Whitney, that head on. They go into the far turn. He's like a football field ahead of the field. It's Delmar too. It's going to be a track he likes. It would not shock me in the least if he doesn't come back, but I think there is enough speed, especially to his outside, that it's going to make it really hard for him. So I'm tossing all of it. I don't normally like an equipment change like blinkers on or off ending into a big race, but Tim said it perfectly. Hot Rod Charlie's just been a bad actor in his last two races, so I think it's a good move because he definitely caused a problem. Well, clearly caused a problem in Pascal, but he definitely caused a problem in the PA Derby too. And I agree with Tim; they weren't going to take him down, but he did float Midnight Bourbon out quite a bit. I just hope they don't have him so keyed up that he wants to play with these guys early, because I think if that's the case, it's a bad thing. But I'm just assuming he's in the catbird seat here. While Knicks Go, Art Collector, and Medina Spirit are going early. Here's Hot Rod Charlie just watching it all unfold ahead of Essential Quality and ready to get the jump on him entering the far turn. And that's how I'm going to play this race. I wanted to put Tripoli on top. He can't. He's not good enough. But he really likes Delmar. He had no chance. Just draw a line through. The Awesome again wasn't even a race. So they let Medina Spirit go in 47-3. It's like they shouldn't even count. Like when you look at them. Because it's not anything remotely close to what is going to happen on Saturday. But Tripoli ran okay. His Pacific Classic isn't good enough to win this race, but it puts him in the mix for a piece. And he's another horse that's going to like the flow of this race. He doesn't have to drop out the back. Well, where is Essential Quality in this race? They're going to go really, really fast. The Travers was a two-horse race. It's different now, okay? So, where is Essential Quality? If he's 7th, 8 lengths behind, that's a problem. So it's going to be interesting to see what Luis Saez does to try to thread the needle a little bit. I don't want to be too far up front, take my starch out of the stretch, but I don't want to drop out too far either. He's not going to make up a lot of ground on this racetrack. It's a very fascinating race that, with a lot going on. I think we all agree, regardless of our picks, there's a lot of speed in here. And, I'm with Tim that the 3-year-olds are on top, and that's my exacta box. So 3-4-1. I think Knicks Go. I've got him in 4th. He'll win the battle, but he'll lose the war. 3-4-1-5 in a very compelling Breeders' Cup Classic.
Yeah, fun way to wrap up the weekend, no question about it. Eclipse Awards will be decided, and bets will be cashed, and there will be the opportunity to walk away with a big smile on your face. All you need is one good one on the weekend, and you'll have a very good weekend. So as Brian said earlier, take the rubber band off the bankroll and play. I just pulled up the betting menu. special daily doubles. There'll be a juvenile turf on Friday and the turf on Saturday double, a juvenile fillies and a distaff double as well Friday, Saturday, and a juvenile and a classic double. So some fun doubles to jump into. There are a couple of pick fives on Friday on the card. There are 3 pick fives on Saturday on the card. Lots of great opportunities. There are $1 minimums, win, place, show, daily double, exacta, pick 6, and the special double, 50-cent trifectas, excuse me, pick 3s, pick 4s, pick 5s, and a super high 5, and dime superfectas. So there's a little brief overview of your wagering menu. Hopefully we gave you some good ideas, and I will wish my colleagues here good luck. Appreciate the conversation. Good luck on the weekend. Tim, appreciate it. Brian, appreciate it. And again, enjoy the weekend out at Delmar as well. Say hello to all our compatriots who are out there, because I know there's a pretty good local contingent out that way.
Yeah, I'm going to actually meet up with Anthony, our buddy Anthony and colleague Mormino in a little bit, have some lunch, and then kind of get to handicap, and I will do that. Timmy, always great to see you. I'm glad to see you doing well. Tim and I have known each other a long time, and he's one of the best. So
Thanks,
always
Brian.
good to see Tim, and value his opinion a lot. Always good to see you guys. Seth, you too. Best of luck to you and everybody back home.
Cash some tickets out there, Brian.
Trying.
That's the game plan for all of us. You too. Hopefully, again, we gave you some good information. We appreciate your tuning in to the annual Capital OTB Breeders' Cup Seminar for 2021. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
That's it.
All right, boys.
Yeah, perfect. That was good.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks,
you.
Brian.
Great
Good
to
luck.
see you.
Take it
Glad
easy.
all's well, all right?
Have
We'll talk
fun.
soon.